Entitled family stole $30,000, called it family duty, and then showed up at my job begging for more. You ever have that moment where your entire life shatters in a second? That moment where your brain starts piecing together everything, every comment, every favor, every guilt trip, and you realize that your whole existence in someone's eyes was nothing more than a convenience? That happened to me on my 28th birthday. I woke up thinking this was going to be the year. I was finally in a good place financially. I had a vacation planned, and I was finally going to do something for myself for once. But instead, I opened my banking app and realized that I had been robbed blind. And the worst part? It wasn't by some hacker or cybercriminal. It was by my own parents. I'm a 28-year-old man. For the longest time, I believed I was just being a good son, the responsible one, the one who held the family together, the one everyone could rely on. But now, I know the truth. I was just the easiest one to exploit. Growing up, my parents, Mark and Diane, taught me that family comes first. That line was like scripture in our house. It was the unspoken law we lived by. But what they really meant was, you sacrifice and we benefit. I didn't realize that until it was way too late. My younger sister, Tina, 25F, was always the favorite, the golden girl. But she was also a walking disaster. She totaled 2 cars before she turned 22, failed out of college twice, and spent more time at clubs than in class. And every time she messed up, guess who had to clean it up? Me. When Tina wrecked her car, again, I paid the deductible. When she claimed she was finally serious about school, I co-signed a student loan. When my mom said she needed money for emergency chiropractor visits, I sent it without question. Every month, it was something new. We're behind on the gas bill. The roof is leaking again. Tina needs a laptop for online classes. I never said no. Not once. Because that's what I thought family did. I was raised to believe that if you didn't take care of your family, you were selfish. A failure. So I gave, and gave, and gave, until I had nothing left. Leading up to my 28th birthday, I was finally turning a corner. I'd been working hard in my IT job, budgeting like crazy, and saving every extra cent for something I dreamed about since college. A solo trip to Japan. I wanted to explore Tokyo, visit Kyoto's shrines, eat real sushi, and just exist without anyone needing something from me for once. That morning, I woke up excited. I remember humming to myself, walking to the kitchen to make coffee. I had my travel wish list pulled up on my laptop, ready to book my flights and hotel. I opened my banking app, and my blood ran cold. $31,672.39. Gone. My heart started pounding. I stared at the screen, thinking it had to be a glitch. But the transactions were there. Dozens of them. All real. All recent. $9,000 to a local university. 2 charges from an Apple store, $2, $201,500. A furniture store invoice for $4,700. Airline tickets for 2 to Hawaii. Countless smaller charges, $300 here, $700 there. It felt like the walls were closing in. I called the bank in a panic. I told them I didn't make those charges. They calmly told me the accounts were still listed under a joint credit line, the one I had opened 5 years ago to help my dad rebuild his credit. Apparently, he'd never removed himself. He'd kept using it all this time. They had access, and they'd been draining me for months. I didn't even cry. I didn't scream. I went numb. Then I got in my car and drove straight to their house. When I walked into the living room, it was like stepping into an alternate reality. My mom was reclining in a brand new leather armchair. My sister was scrolling through a shiny new iPhone 15 Pro Max, a model I couldn't even afford myself. The smell of takeout Thai food hung in the air. Laughter from some trashy Netflix show blared from the TV. I stood in the doorway. Where did the money go? I asked, my voice low, but my fists were clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. My mom blinked at me lazily. What money? I stepped forward. $31,000. From my account. Don't play dumb. She didn't flinch, just shrugged. Oh, that. We needed it. You know how tight things have been lately. I stared at her. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You stole from me. From the kitchen, my dad yelled. Don't be so dramatic. You make, what, 80 grand a year? You'll bounce back. I was shaking. It's not about the money. It's the fact that you did it behind my back. You never asked. You lied to me. Tina didn't even look up. God, you're so sensitive. You're acting like a little bitch. That hit me harder than I expected. Because that's how they always treated me. Like I was weak for having boundaries. Like I was selfish for wanting peace. You really think this is okay? That I'm just your walking ATM? My mom finally stood up. We raised you. We fed you. Paid for your clothes. Your school supplies. That's what parents do. Now it's your turn. It's your duty to take care of us. And that's when it hit me like a freight train. They didn't raise a son. They raised a wallet. I didn't say another word. I turned around, walked out of the house, got in my car, and drove away. And as I drove, I made a silent promise to myself. This ends now. No more guilt. No more enabling. No more being the good son while they drain me dry. I wasn't going to let them bury me under the weight of their expectations anymore. I was done. I didn't sleep that night. After walking out of my parents' house, I drove aimlessly through the city for hours. The streets were quiet, the lights blurry through my windshield, And all I could think was, how could they do this to me? Not strangers. Not scammers. Not some hacker on the internet. My family. My own blood. They stole over $31,000 from me, and when I confronted them, they didn't apologize. They didn't cry. They didn't show remorse. They laughed. They said it was my duty. I felt like I was suffocating under years of silent obligation. I was raised to believe that family comes first, but they really meant your family comes first, and you come last. That night, I realized something bone deep. If I didn't walk away now, they'd drain me for the rest of my life. By morning, I had a plan. The first thing I did was call my bank and freeze all the accounts they had access to. Every joint credit line, every emergency card I'd ever set up, just in case. I shut them all down. I added fraud alerts to my credit file, changed every password I could think of, and set up two-factor authentication. I even pulled my full credit report. What I found made my stomach twist. There were 3 open credit lines I didn't recognize, 2 maxed-out store cards, a car loan I never signed off on, but was tied to my social. All in my name. All opened years ago. That was the first time I cried. Not out of sadness, but out of rage. I sat in my apartment, shaking, trying to breathe. I had been nothing more than a convenient identity to them. A tool. An endless resource. And the worst part? They never once asked how I was doing. Not once did they check in after stealing my money. Not a single "Are you okay?" or "We're sorry." Just texts like, "Mom, so you're gonna call the police on your own mother? After everything I did for you? Dad, wow. You're really gonna let us suffer over some money? Tina, God, you're such a drama queen. You'll be fine. We needed it more than you." I blocked them all, deleted their numbers, changed my phone plan, told my work to redirect all emergency contact info. And then I did something I never thought I'd do. I filed a police report. Yes, against my own parents. My therapist later called it the moment I finally chose myself. At the time, I just felt sick. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want them thrown in jail. I just wanted them to stop. I wanted to be free. But freedom comes with fallout. A few days later, I got a call from my uncle, my mom's brother. "Hey, kiddo, I just heard from your mom. She says you kicked them out of the house and froze their accounts? What's going on? Are you okay?" My jaw clenched. I could hear the judgment already loading in his voice. "I didn't kick anyone out," I said. "They stole over 30 grand from me, Uncle Ray. Opened credit lines in my name. Wrecked my credit. And laughed about it." Silence. Then, "Well, they were just trying to get by. They didn't mean any harm." There it was. The same excuse everyone gives toxic parents. They tried their best. They didn't mean it. You'll understand when you're older. I hung up. I didn't need his guilt, too. Word started to spread through the family. My parents went on a full-blown smear campaign. They told people I had become arrogant. That success went to my head. That I abandoned my family for a vacation. According to one cousin's Facebook post, I was now the ungrateful son who betrayed his struggling parents. I didn't engage. I just posted a single screenshot of the $8,900 tuition charge, then the $4,700 furniture bill, then the $1,600 iPhone charge. No caption. Just cold, hard facts. One by one, the judgmental comments dried up. 3 months passed. I focused on rebuilding. I took on freelance projects to help recover the stolen money. I started therapy. And for the first time, I started asking myself what I wanted. Not what they wanted. Not what Tina needed. Not what mom guilt me into. Me. I started looking for apartments in a new city, far away. Somewhere they couldn't just show up. Somewhere I could actually breathe. Then came the final straw. I was walking out of work one Friday, headphones in, minding my own business, when someone tapped my shoulder. I turned and froze. It was my mother. She looked different. Tired. Her hair was stringy, her face pale. She had a plastic shopping bag in her hand and clothes that didn't fit right. "Please," she said softly. "Just hear me out." My heart was pounding. I looked around. People were passing us, not knowing they were witnessing a lifetime of trauma trying to claw its way back in. "I didn't know what we were doing, okay?" she said. "We were desperate. We thought you'd be okay. You're doing so well. We just needed some help." I swallowed. Hard. "You could have asked," I said. "But you didn't. You stole. You lied. And when I confronted you, you mocked me." She wiped her eyes. "We're homeless, honey. Sleeping in the car. Please. Just a few hundred. Until we get on our feet." I almost gave in. But then I remembered Tina calling me a drama queen. My dad telling me I'd bounce back. My mom saying it was my duty. I looked her dead in the eye. "You didn't treat me like family when you stole from me. Don't expect me to act like family now." And I walked away. That night, she left a voicemail. It was the first time I ever heard her beg. "Please. I don't care about the money anymore. I just want my son back." But the truth was, she never wanted me. She wanted my money. My stability. My usefulness. The moment I stopped being useful, I stopped being a son. Since then, I've changed my number. Moved to a new city. Bought a small apartment with my name on the deed. No co-signers. No shared accounts. No obligations. Just me. And peace. I got a dog, Milo. He greets me at the door every night with love I never have to earn. I'm still healing. Therapy helps. So do long walks. So does not flinching every time my phone buzzes. Sometimes I wonder what they're doing. If they're still living in that beat-up sedan. If Tina ever found a new scapegoat. If my dad ever accepted what he did. But I don't reach out. Because for once in my life, I'm choosing me. 6 months. That's how long it's been since I last saw my parents. Since my mother showed up outside my office, clothes hanging off her body, begging for money with tears in her eyes and guilt in her voice. And yet, even now, the scars they left behind still itch. I thought that once I walked away, I'd feel lighter. Like someone had cut the chains off my ankles. And in some ways, I did. But freedom has a strange weight to it. When you grow up as the family's emotional mule, provider, fixer, and peacemaker, silence feels unnatural. Peace feels guilty. Joy feels like betrayal. I'm still unlearning that. I started journaling. My therapist suggested it. And one entry I wrote stands out. They didn't raise me. They drained me. That realization hit me like a freight train. My childhood wasn't filled with bedtime stories, or warm hugs, or birthday surprises. It was filled with my mom crying over bills while telling me I had to understand adult problems at 10 years old. My dad slamming doors when I asked why we couldn't ever go on vacation. My sister blaming me for everything, while being handed things I had to earn with blood, sweat, and silence. I didn't grow up. I was forced to grow up. After the fallout, a few extended relatives reached out. My cousin Lila sent me a message that just said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was this bad. If you ever want to talk, I'm here." I cried when I read that. Not because I needed her apology, but because she was the first person who didn't try to defend my parents. She believed me. Without question. Without excuses. It was the smallest lifeline, but it reminded me I wasn't crazy. I wasn't cold. I was finally seeing the truth clearly. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. I got a letter in the mail a month ago. No return address. Just my name in shaky handwriting. I knew it was from my mom the second I saw it. I stood in my kitchen holding it for a long time. A part of me wanted to tear it up unread. Another part needed to know what she could possibly say. I opened it. "Dear my name, I know you hate me. I deserve that. But I want you to know we never meant to hurt you. We were desperate. Your father lost his job. Tina had medical bills. I was drowning. We didn't know what to do. We thought you'd be okay. You're so strong. So successful. We figured you'd recover. I know we crossed a line. I miss you every day. I miss my son. Please, just let us talk. One coffee. One call. Anything. Love always. Mom." I read it 3 times. Then I folded it neatly, placed it back in the envelope, and burned it in my sink. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. They didn't miss me. They missed access. They missed my wallet, my stability, my guilt. Since cutting them off, I've learned what actual family feels like. It's my friend Marcus, who showed up with pizza and wine the night I told him everything. It's Lila, who checks in weekly just to ask how therapy's going. It's my dog Milo, who curls up beside me during every dark spiral. It's the people who see me, not as a tool, not as a wallet, not as a golden ticket, but as a person. I've built boundaries where there used to be burn marks. I've learned to say no, without explanation. I've learned that love doesn't come with invoices or emotional blackmail. Tina, by the way, messaged me last week. It came from a new number. The preview read, "Hey, can we talk?" I stared at it for 10 seconds, then blocked the number. 10 minutes later, she emailed me instead. "I know you hate us, but Mom's in the hospital. Thought you should know." I didn't respond. Not because I'm heartless, but because this is how they pull you back in. They never call when they're happy. They never reach out to celebrate anything about my life. Only when they're desperate. Only when they're drowning and need a lifeline. I'm not their savior anymore. I'm not their emotional sponge. I'm not their credit card. I'm just me. And I deserve peace. The funny thing is, since cutting them off, I've actually thrived. My credit's recovering. I got promoted at work. I started dating someone who doesn't flinch when I talk about my past. Her name's Erin. We met at a bookstore. She asked if the novel I was holding was worth reading. I told her I'd just started it, and that I mostly read nonfiction these days, self-help, therapy stuff. Instead of awkward silence, she smiled and said, "I love people who want to heal. We've been seeing each other for 3 months now." She listens without trying to fix me. She never makes me feel guilty for protecting my peace. She loves Milo. Sometimes I wonder what my mom would think of her. Then I remember, I don't owe my mom anything. It was just another Wednesday. I'd had my usual coffee. Milo was extra clingy that morning, like he could sense something. I brushed it off. Meetings filled the first half of the day. I was presenting a quarterly report to my division director. Clean, numbers-backed, tight performance. I was proud of it. For once, I was starting to feel settled. Maybe even successful. Then, just after lunch, my receptionist pinged me over Slack. "Hey, there's a woman in the lobby asking to see you. Won't leave." I blinked. "Name?" She replied. "Didn't give one. Says she's your mother." The floor felt like it dropped out from under me. No, she couldn't be here. I hadn't told her where I worked. I'd changed jobs after the fallout. Even my LinkedIn had been sanitized. But somehow she'd found me. I stood slowly. My palms were already sweating. It was happening again. I walked to the lobby like I was marching into a courtroom. And there she was. My mother, dressed in a full leather jacket, hair pinned back like she wanted to seem put together, but her eyes gave her away. Bloodshot, swollen, furious and desperate all at once. Next to her, Tina, my sister. I almost laughed. This was the first time they'd ever come as a team. I guess when your target stops replying, you bring the cavalry. Why are you here? I asked, voice flat. The receptionist looked at me, confused, clearly sensing tension. I'm fine, I said to her. You can go back. Mom took a step forward. We just want to talk. Please. 5 minutes. No, I said, turning on my heel. But Tina blocked me. In front of your coworkers? She hissed. Really? You showed up to my workplace, I snapped. You don't get to be embarrassed now. My boss came around the corner, holding his tablet. His eyes scanned the scene. Everything okay here? He asked, calm but firm. I nodded tightly. Personal matter. I'll handle it outside. I led them to the street, jaw clenched. As soon as the glass door shut behind us, my mother's voice cracked. I'm sorry, but you've ignored us for months. I didn't know what else to do. There are 1,000 better options than ambushing me at work, I said. You left us. Tina exploded. You act like you're some saint, but you abandoned your family when we needed you most. No, I replied, ice cold. I stopped being your personal ATM. Big difference. My mother's voice softened. Sweetheart, please. Your father's not well. He had a stroke 2 weeks ago. I blinked. And he's in recovery. But we're struggling with the bills. There it was. Always a tragedy. Always a crisis. Always a reason I had to bail them out. I'm sorry to hear that, I said, voice firm. But I'm not your emergency fund. Mom's lip trembled. You used to care. What happened to you? I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only they could hear. You made me choose between survival and loyalty. And I chose survival. Tina scoffed. You're so dramatic. We were just asking for help. Families do that. No, I said, locking eyes with her. Families reciprocate. You demanded. You took. You guilt-tripped me until I was drowning. Then when I finally said no, you tried to ruin me. My mother flinched. You came to my job. That's harassment. If you show up again, I will file a report. You wouldn't dare, Tina snapped. Try me. They stared at me like they didn't recognize me. Good. Let them see the version of me that no longer apologizes for bleeding. As I turned to go, my mother whispered, what would your wife think of you right now? That stopped me in my tracks. She knew exactly what she was doing. Bringing up her. The one person I still grieved. The reason I worked so hard. The reason I pushed through so many years of their abuse without snapping. My late wife, Sarah? I turned slowly, rage simmering just beneath my skin. Don't ever say her name again. Why? My mom asked. She would have wanted you to forgive us. You're better than this. No, I said. I'm exactly what you made me. Hardened, boundaried, and finally done with people who think family is a weapon. Security came out a moment later, led by my building manager. I didn't have to explain anything. They escorted my mother and sister off the premises. As she was being led away, my mother turned and shouted, loud enough for half the lobby to hear. You'll regret this when we're dead. I didn't respond. Not because it didn't hurt, but because for the first time in my life, I knew her words were a performance, not a prophecy. That night, I sat in my apartment, staring out the window. Erin, my girlfriend, was curled up on the couch, Milo asleep in her lap. I told her everything. She didn't say, maybe they meant well. She didn't say, but they're still your family. She didn't try to explain away the pain. She just reached out, held my hand, and whispered, you didn't deserve any of that. The next day, I filed a cease and desist letter through my lawyer. It was formal, clear, and cold. Any further contact from my family, personal, digital, or professional, would be treated as harassment and legal action would follow. It wasn't revenge. It was self-preservation. I gave them 1,000 chances. They weaponized every one. Now they'd have to live with silence. Sometimes, I wonder what it would have been like to have a normal family. To celebrate holidays instead of dreading them. To have a mother who lifted me up instead of weighing me down. To have a sister who defended me instead of blaming me. But that version of life never existed. It was a fantasy. A coping mechanism. A survival illusion. The real story? I made it out. I built a life from the ashes. I fell in love again. I found people who lift me instead of leeching from me. I didn't need their permission. I didn't need their apology. I just needed to finally believe. I deserve peace.